Well, we all know the old acronym, WWJD. What would John do? As in John Fisher. And then once you decide what John Fisher would have done, you do the exact opposite. John Fisher, deceptive, antisocial, secretive, unaccomplished, thrifty, disingenuous, manipulative, incompetent. Again, once you decide WWJD, you do a hairpin turn and go exactly the other way, which is why we should talk about former Nevada State Senator Scott Hammond. Now, I've got nothing personally against Scott. His bio says he was a former high school teacher. I can absolutely get behind that and support that career. And after years in the state Senate, he was named right around Halloween by Governor Joe Lombardo as the new executive director of the Nevada Governor's Office of Workforce Innovation. Or again, if you like acronyms, GOWINN. Go win. And he has supported giving the A's nearly $400 million, 380 exactly, to come to Las Vegas, move from Oakland, build a new ballpark. Now, every part about this deal, every part about John Fisher's move, every part about relocation, it stinks.
It stinks.
Did Fisher ever act in good faith with California lawmakers? Did he ever really, truly look for an option to keep that team in the Bay Area? Did he ever actually put any effort forth, any money forth to building a competitive team, to re-signing talented guys or signing free agents? Did he ever make a goodwill gesture to enhancing the fan experience of the Coliseum? By now, you've probably seen a few of my screeds on YouTube or heard my show. I would answer no, that this whole thing is the biggest sham ever, and that's because John Fisher actively sought to make his baseball team uncompetitive and let the facility rot so that he could portray fan ambivalence, fan apathy. See, no one cares here, so I have to move. Biggest hoax going. Now, on top of this, John Fisher didn't earn any of that money, didn't earn this baseball team. Mommy and daddy created the gap. Mommy and daddy gave him money. Mommy and daddy basically bequeathed him a baseball team. And now he wants to take that team to Las Vegas. All right, so here's just a word to the wise for Las Vegas lawmakers or those like Hammond that are working with John Fisher and will work with John Fisher. Consider what Fisher would do and then do the opposite. You see, once again, questions have abounded about why are the new ballpark renderings taking so long and why are they so secretive and why does it feel like the financing might not be there for John Fisher? And there's always been this low drumbeat of what's real and what's not with Fisher and his plans for relocation. What's the money? Where's it coming from? And why are things so murky? And why are things changing so often? So now in mid-January, when the deadline's going to come about revenue sharing from Major League Baseball teams, and we still don't have renderings of this new ballpark, and now there's questions about whether John Fisher will ever get more than $1 billion as a loan to pay for the rest of the stadium. Naturally, people are going to be a little cynical. And naturally, Twitter is where you go to be really cynical. So an A's fan, under the handle Let's Go Oakland, tweets, the Nevada legislature won't risk the Trop location failing. Neither will Fisher. Revenue share stadium deal deadline, January 15th. And then he adds a number of Twitter handles, including the governor and Scott Hammond, to quietly and once again corruptively enact the change into law. And this is where Scott Hammond should have concluded, whatever John Fisher might do, I won't do. Except Hammond fired back, you really have not taken the time to read the legislation. Sad. Get off your mom's couch, leave the basement, and learn to live. Overreaction. Another A's supporter, at Oakland Rooted, responded to this tweet. What an embarrassing reply from someone who voted in favor of this deal. Instead of demeaning someone, why not show us the legislation and prove what people are saying is incorrect? Why not provide details about why you voted yes? All right, again, not respond, and certainly not respond by blasting the user and demeaning them. But Scott Hammond, if you were not such an idiot, you could actually look it up for yourself and read what it says about the site, but you won't because you're lazy. It's not my job to spoon feed you. That was your mother's failure. Spoken like a true high school teacher that dealt with a lot of C students. And then finally, one more Oakland A's supporter says he's definitely hit a nerve. The question is, why does this bother Hammond so much? To which Hammond subtweeted, "I hope it keeps you up all night." Now, Hammond told LVSportsBiz.com, Las Vegas sports business, it was because the first user utilized the term corruptively and that it doesn't sit well when someone accuses you of doing something corrupt. Which, hey, I could understand. But Mr. Hammond should understand this. John Fisher has no benefit of the doubt, especially amongst A's fans. Everything has always felt very secretive and very corrupt. I mean, here is an owner who took a team, drove it into the ground, allowed the facility to deteriorate. Possums are checking press credentials. That's not a hard thing to prevent. Instead of publicly explaining why he felt it necessary to move out of one of the wealthiest markets in America and a top 10 media market to what would be the smallest market in Major League Baseball, instead of selling the team to, say, Joe Lacob, who's a billionaire owner of a sports team already in the Bay Area that essentially says, "I've got an open offer to you," John Fisher silently hides. And the only interview he grants, he doesn't even allow to be televised. They sit down for a Q&A, but he gets right of first refusal and final edit, basically, so that the quotes can only arrive in print. He's hiding. So what would John Fisher do if he was questioned about perhaps corruptively changing some things to make sure they happen? He would lash out. What would he say to critics of this plan? He would call them losers that lived in their mother's basements. He would call them lazy and that they were spoon-fed. He would blame it on their mothers. Their mothers! Look, you can lash out at a lot of people, but why lash out at their unnamed mothers? What we would assume John Fisher would do is not be mature about it. We assume that John Fisher would lash out. He would become defensive, combative. He would try to put you down. We assume he would go after your mother. Again, all very high school, isn't it? A word to the wise for Scott Hammond and everybody else working on this from the Vegas perspective. I get it. You want a professional baseball team, and you might have one. But if you want this to look like it's on the up and up, if you want people to trust that this is going to happen for all the right reasons, then try to be sophisticated, mature, diplomatic, professional. Because those are all attributes we do not associate, nor have we ever seen from John Fisher. Hammond says he fought back because, quote, that term corruptively. I'll hit back a little. I guess Hammond did one thing that John Fisher would never do: explain himself. For more videos like this, and there will be more about this A's relocation, subscribe right here. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm DA, Damon Amendolara. We'll see you next time.